It's good to be in the house of the Lord on the Sabbath day.
Amen.
Doing what we're supposed to do. We've been saving our life. But I'm gonna give you the topic before we get started. It's God's safety place from Armageddon. God's safety place from Armageddon. See, God gives us an escape. Give us an escape so we can avoid this time of trouble, which is the 3.5 years of tribulation that we're going to experience if we live it. But we don't have to experience it like the rest of the world would experience it. They're going to get caught up in it. If their preacher don't teach them about the safety place and how to avoid it, they can be waiting on that 7-year tribulation period and say they're going to flee that 3.5 years. But if you go off that, what these Gentiles are teaching, you're going to get caught up in the midst of it. Because it's going to start, and we know by what happens in Jerusalem. And what's going to happen in Jerusalem is they're going to rebuild that third temple. And they pretty much got the format all the way out. They're just waiting on, when they're going to let them build it. And we're going to touch on that warning sign of rebuilding the temple. But we're going to start at Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 1. The only thing the Lord put me here to do is to warn the people. If I don't warn y'all, my behind is grass to the Lord. I can't sit up here and just get you fully happy, y'all jumping around the church and acting crazy and don't get nothing in your mind. That's the main objective for church. You going to school. That's all it is. This is like college. For some people, it's like high school. It all depends on your level of education in this book. And we try to touch on every basis or every grade level from a kid all the way up to an adult. Because most people really don't understand what's going on in the Bible, and the preacher don't make it plain enough so they can understand. And that's my thing. I'm a plain person, so I'm trying to make it plain enough for kids to understand what is in adults. So we're going to start at Matthew chapter 24. And a lot of times God uses these metaphors in the Bible. It's for us to make sure that we can relay it to the people and break it down so they will understand.
That's right.
So we're going to start Matthew chapter 24 and verse 1. Let's look at what our Lord and Savior says. Go ahead, brother, when you get it.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the building of the temple.
Yes, sir.
And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down.
See what happened, Jesus was explaining to them of what's going to happen to this temple, which is Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. It's going to be torn down. And that happened in 70 AD, when Titus came over there and tore the temple down, and that's when we fled out of our land. That's the last time we was a nation. And that's how we got scattered all over the world. But Jesus giving us some warning signs. The same thing is going to happen. Same thing going to happen. It's a twofold prophecy. But we got to understand how to flee from this persecution of this tribulation period and be saved. But if we don't understand that, we sheep for the slaughter. Because you're going to be able to keep these commandments like we keep them. You're not going to be able to honor the Sabbath. You're not going to be able to pay your rent, your light bill, unless you had a mark of the beast. You're not going to be able to do that. If you think you're going to do that and just seclude yourself off in a section on the earth and they don't have anything to do with you, right, you're sadly mistaken.
Exactly.
And you see all the people on TV building doomsday shelters and all this stuff. Man, they own this land. And believe me, if you don't pay taxes on this land, therefore they're going to take it. They're going to take it. So understand what you're getting yourself into. Don't think you can avoid this because you want to stay in this land. Go ahead, verse 2, brother.
Verse 2, 3.
3, excuse me.
And as he sat up on the Mount of Olives, The disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world?
And this is what we're talking about, the end of the world. He said, tell the disciples, asking him a very important question, tell us, so we can warn the people. And the disciples, they wrote this book. The prophets from the Old Testament and the apostles in the New Testament, they wrote this book. They need to know the warning signs of the end. But Jesus gave them the very first warning sign. Listen to what he said.
Verse 4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you.
And that's real important. That includes me. Take heed that no man, including preachers, including anybody in the world, to deceive you from getting salvation. And right now we're talking about being safe in the 3.5-year tribulation period that's going to happen in the war of Armaggeddon. Being safe. I'm telling y'all, when I read this Bible, it's going to be some gruesome time, man. Believe me, we're going to need every inch of faith just to make it over there.
That's right.
Every inch. It's not going to be a comfortable sight. But I'm on one. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
See, they're going to come in his name. They ain't coming in Allah's name. They ain't coming in Buddha's name. They coming in Jesus' name and telling you, you're going to be raptured out of here. You ain't got to worry about it. I had a preacher tell me that. See, we ain't got to worry about that. I said, written. It's written. You got to worry about it, especially you, because you are a preacher. And you telling your members that you're going to be raptured out of here. Selling them a false sense of hope. Stop playing around with these people. I ain't got time to be playing around with people. I want you to put it on the table so I can know what I'm up against. Period. Put it on the table. Don't just sit up there and play with me like, oh, he's going to get right, patting me on the back.
That's right.
And next thing you know, the lion is right there on the corner waiting on me to kill. And that's what they're doing. And that lion is Satan. And he controlling all these nations. Y'all seen it in the video. I showed y'all who gave these nations power, which is Satan from the book. This is what he's doing. Jump down to verse 15, brother. Listen to what Jesus said. This is the warning sign.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand.
Go ahead.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains.
See what he said? Now, if you're a New Testament Christian, you won't know what Daniel's talking about. Because you said the Old Testament been done away with. We don't have to worry about that. Jesus told us to go back and read what Daniel said about this abomination of desolation.
Yes.
This destruction. Now, we can't go back. If your pastor tells you we New Testament church, we can't go back and read that, you need to run from that cat. That cat is a mortician. He about to put you in the ground. He about to kill you. If he's section off the Bible. All scripture are profitable. All of them. To reprove, to rebuke, to put everything in its rightful order. All of them. But if a preacher tell you that we New Testament church, you in the wrong church. You in a dead congregation. And Jesus told us right here, read what Daniel said and flee to the mountains. Flee to the mountain. That's what's going to happen. Jump down to verse 21.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
We ain't never seen this destruction. I don't care what movie you seen. I don't care what wars you read about in history class in school. You ain't never seen this type of destruction that's going to hit upon this earth. This 200 million man army, the east and against the west. You ain't never seen this before. One side of the world against the other side. They killing a third of men in the world. You ain't never seen this. I ain't never seen this. There's going to be so much blood upon this earth, man. It's going to be crazy. But if you don't get a mental picture of this in your mind and prepare yourself for it, you're going to stay right over here and get that mark in your right hand and your forehead. Because you don't want to leave mama. Because you don't want to leave your cars, your house, your clothes, all that stuff. Your job. I'd rather leave that to them. But anyway, all that stuff, man. You can't get caught up in this. You get caught up in this, it's not going to help you. You're not going to profit toward the Lord. That's why I tell people, you got to do it the way He say do it. Go ahead, bro.
22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
He said, for the elect's sake, those who got the knowledge, he said he wanted to shorten these days because no flesh will survive. Why? Because every leader, king of this country, have a nuclear weapon. Believe me, when they see that they're about to lose, they don't want to hammer down to the other nations, they're going to shoot them with their nuclear weapons to destroy the whole world. So God said, I'm going to shorten them days. That's why they're only going 3.5 years. Not 7 years as they tell you in these Gentile churches. It's 3. Because you got to shorten them days. You got to come back and set everything in order. Go ahead, brother.
Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not.
Don't believe it, because that man of sin gonna sit there in the temple calling himself Jesus Christ. He's supposed to be the vicar of Christ, which is the replacement of Christ on earth. He gonna do that. If you don't understand, you're gonna believe that because He's gonna show you signs and great wonders. He's gonna make a statue walk. He's gonna make a statue come alive. He's gonna do all this powerful stuff that you're gonna be fooled because you say, oh, He got to be the one. Yeah. Look at all these miracles that He's doing. He got to be.
Exactly.
No, y'all gotta realize Satan can do miracles, he can heal people, he can do all this stuff that almost like God, because he has that power. He has that power. But the ministers are taking that off the table, and therefore you don't understand how he operates. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 24. For there shall rise false Christs, false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders.
Yes, sir.
Insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
See what he said? He said if it were possible, it would deceive the very. Who the very elect? The one that reading his Bible and understand the signs, understand what Christ said was going to happen, and we recognize it and we move and get to the place of safety. But the ones that kind of are novice in this, who really don't understand, who really just going out behind following somebody, they might be deceived. You can't be a novice in this. You got to make sure you understand what's going on so you won't rely on nobody, not even me. You know what you're supposed to do? Get there. I'm not with you, get there. Recognize your transportation. You got to. Now, Jesus said, read Daniel. We're going to go to Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 1. I'm following the Lord. I ain't following no preacher say we New Testament church. All that been wiped away. That's done away. Man, I ain't even got to leave the Old Testament, take you from the resurrection, from the beginning and all the way to the resurrection. Right in Daniel. You can do it in Daniel. You can do it in all the books. But what they tell you, that's been done away with. No, this stuff in Daniel hasn't been done away with. It's not even got started yet, some of it. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 1. We're going to look at this vision that Daniel had. He didn't quite understand, but we're not going to touch on all these Gentile dynasties of Nebuchadnezzar, Medo-Persia, and Alexander the Great and 4 generals. That's not what we are talking about today. We're talking about the place of safety, getting there. But we got to touch on it just a little bit. Daniel chapter 7, we're going to start at verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and vision of his head upon his bed.
Yes, sir.
Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters.
Yes, sir.
Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strode upon the great sea.
Yes, sir.
And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another.
Now understand these 4 winds, it's talking about 4 kingdoms. We're talking about Babylon, Medo-Persia, Rome, and Greece. We're talking about these 4 kingdoms, these Gentiles who ran the whole world. That Daniel called it from the beginning and all the way to the end. He called it from the beginning to the end, just like the Lord told him to. But we're concerned with this 4th beast because we are in that time right now.
That's right.
This 4th beast.
Amen.
Now we're going to jump down to verse 23 and look at this 4th beast. which is going to come from the Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholic Church. And he gonna kill you spiritually just as well as with war. He gonna have both. He gonna have the best of both worlds. Verse 23. Let's look at this fourth beast. Go ahead, brother.
Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall divide the whole earth, and shall tread it down, break it in pieces.
See, this fourth beast, he's going to be diverse. He's going to be in everybody's household, everybody's land. Wherever you go, you're going to find that. You're going to find a Roman Catholic church. Almost everywhere in the world on that side of the west, but you're going to find him. But this fourth beast, he's going to be diverse. He's going to destroy the whole world with his cunning fables. And he's doing it now, just in a smaller version. It ain't as noticeable now because the word is not getting out there like it's supposed to. But this fourth beast, he's bad, he's very bad. Go ahead, brother. 24.
And the 10 horns out of his kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
Now these 10 horns he's talking about, you have to go back and read Daniel about that statue he gave Daniel, the interpretation of that dream of these kingdoms. He down to the toes of that dream, which is the 10 nations. We're talking about the European Economic Community, which is the revised Roman Empire, which the Pope, I ain't saying this Pope right here going to be the one, but the Pope, he's going to be a part of that, a very important part. He's going to be the spiritual leader. This is what he said in Daniel chapter 11. He's going to have an arm on his side, meaning he's going to have an army that's going to be for his using. Now go ahead, brother. These 10 toes, all they're saying, 10 horns are just horns that symbolize power. Power. These 10 horns have power and they are kingdoms. Go ahead.
Okay. Which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall divide the whole earth, and shall tread it down, break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom.
Okay.
Go ahead. Verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them.
That's a European Economic Community now, the euro. Some of the most powerful currency that's in the world today. I was researching that today about the euro dollar, about how powerful it is. It has went above the American US dollar. For $1 US, the euro is $1.37. Now, back in the day, American dollar outweighed all of them. But if you don't know what the euro is, those are the ones that are 10 nations who, that's their currency. That's their currency. And America about the only one really holding on to their currency. Now, this nation, these 10 horns, which is 10 kings, that's the European Economic Community, that's the one that's going to be on the side of this mighty horn, which is the Pope. But go ahead, we don't get all in there. I'm just trying to break it down so you can understand what's going on. But this is what he's going to do. Go ahead.
Start over 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first.
Yes, sir.
And he shall subdue 3 kings.
Now, when he's talking about subdue 3 kings, he's talking about he uprooted the Ostrogoths, the Vandals, and the Hurons. You can go back to history, he just destroyed them because they wouldn't come under the Roman Catholic Church. He destroyed. So this kingdom, this king is very powerful. Go back and read the Inquisition, the Holy Inquisition, how they killed all these people because they wouldn't come under the church, the Roman Catholic Church. You got to do a little history on this thing. I can't do it all for you.
Right.
Because I had to go back and read. You know, many people know me. I don't like to read too much, but I want to know this. I want to know this. But let's look at the power he has. Verse 25.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until time and times and the dividing of time.
That time is 1 year, time is 2 years and a half a time, a half of a year. That's 3.5 years. The great tribulation. He said he should speak great words against the Most High. Look at the Pope now. He's the vicar of Christ, meaning that he's the God upon this earth. That's him. Go look it up. Look up his name in look up his name in Roman numerals,
Right.
and find out what it means. It's gonna equal up to 666. We already did that math up in here. We showed you that. But he said think to change times and law. He had changed the times. He had changed the law. He changed the Sabbath from the 7th day of the week to the 1st day of the week. He changed the Passover to Easter. He changed all this stuff. Everything that we all at one time worshiped was by him. This whole Roman church. In history they tell you all roads lead back to Rome. I never understood that, but I understand it now when I research history. Everything that we're doing came from Rome. It didn't come from this book. Because we can't read Christmas, we can't read Thanksgiving, we can't read Easter, we cannot read Sunday out of this Bible unless we're talking about Pentecost. That's it. Well, go ahead, brother. Where we at?
Verse 26.
Well, we can talk on that right now. Oh yeah, go ahead.
But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end.
See, this man gonna be around to the end of this 3.5 years. He gonna be around till Christ come back. That's why Jesus said, they gonna take the devil and the false prophet and put them in the lake of fire. Excuse me, not devil, but the beast and the false prophet, and put them in the lake of fire first. I'm gonna grab them and put them in there first. Because there ain't no judgment for them. They're gonna be judged at that time. Because they knew what they were doing. And they understand what they're doing. And this is what Jesus was telling them. He said, I'm gonna have to destroy them at the end, because they're gonna be just that powerful. But go ahead, brother, verse 27.
And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High.
Yes, sir.
Whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. All dominion shall serve and obey him.
So when Jesus comes, we gonna have the kingdom, the ones that make it in, was given to us under where? Heaven. Under the whole heaven. On the earth, right here.
Amen.
If we ain't going up in yonder, wherever that storm they got, he said, we gonna have dominion upon this earth. Under the heaven, right down. Go ahead, if you don't know what under the heavens is, go out there and look up in the sky and see the cloud. That's where it is, right here on this earth. Right here. But we got to understand that. We just setting a foundation so you understand how this fourth beast is going to be around to the end. Or this fourth king. He very powerful. Very, very powerful. Now let's go to Revelation chapter 11. Let's look at the warning sign of the temple. I could have went in Daniel chapter 11, but I want to do a little different. I want to go in Revelation. But I want you to understand, we can interpret all this stuff in the new book. We're not no novice in here at all. We understand what's going on. Israel knows what's going on. Revelation chapter 11, we're going to start with verse 1. This is the first sign. One of the first signs to flee. Get out of here. Right here. We'll start with verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood, saying, Arise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. So
he's going to measure the temple. That's the temple that he's going to build. He's going to build in Jerusalem once he comes down and put his foot on the Mount Olivet and just destroy all this stuff. But he said one thing right here. Go ahead, verse 2. Before he do that, he got to let these Gentiles do this. Go ahead.
But the court which is without the temple leave out, measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months.
At 42 months, that's 3.5 years. We consistent with what Daniel said. Now he said, leave that court out for the Gentiles. You know why? Because you got that Muslim mosque over there. They're not going to try to make them, that is the spot where Solomon's temple was, where that Muslim mosque is. So now God said, I understand that, but I don't want the Armageddon to kick off because of that. I want to leave the outer court, mentioned like the outside of that temple for the Gentiles. They're going to rebuild that third temple right there on the outside of the outer court. So when we see that third temple built, that's our sign to get out of here. Flee to the wilderness. We got to understand that. He said, I want this angel to measure the temple. I know where it's going to be, right there, and make sure you get everything in order, but I'm going to let the Gentiles be the third temple to kick off the 3.5 years tribulation. Yes, sir. So we understand what's going on, but we got to understand our transportation. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and verse 14. We got to understand our transportation. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 14. God going to give us transportation, but we got to recognize and understand what to do to move. But if you never read it, you never get familiar with it, you know, like it is today, you know, you got to kind of sit down and watch a person before you really just follow them and hire them or make them your friend. So right now, we making this book our friend. We getting understanding that. So we already know what time it is. We already know what to do. It's going to be second nature. When that third temple is built, I know what to do. And y'all know what to do too, because I taught you. Revelation chapter 12, we're going to start with verse 14. Go ahead and get it, brother.
And to the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the face of the serpent.
See, we keep running into this time and a half a time. He said, I'm going to give her might fly into the wilderness. Understand, God going to have transportation for you. He's talking about planes. He's talking about ships. He's talking about the only way you can get from America over there and outside of Jerusalem, you got to fly or have in a boat. Only way. You can't drive all the way over there now. Got too much water in between. But look at what he said. Now he said, fly into the wilderness, into her place where she shall be nourished, meaning that he's going to take care of us for 3.5 years. We're going to be able to see all this destruction going on from the east and the west, this Armageddon. We're going to see it. We're going to read it. Go ahead, brother.
15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Now understand this, the serpent, you know that's Satan. He said, he's going to cast out a flood after the woman. Read Revelation chapter 17 and verse 15, water symbolizes people. He's going to cast out people that attack this woman, which is the church. God always referred to us as his bride, a woman. He's the husband. He's the bridegroom. This is how he refers to the church, as his woman, period. But Satan, he know what time that he gonna start chasing after us. Just like the children of Israel when we were fleeing out of the wilderness, and that God spread the Red Sea, and then we went across, and then Ramsey came behind us, and he closed it up and killed them. It's gonna be the same way. They're gonna try to chase after us. Well, he gonna get to us, because he's gonna put some protection around us in the place of safety. But go ahead, brother.
16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
See, that's that secret place in the wilderness. The earth helped the woman, which is his people. He's going to help us to get into that secret place. And we're going to find out where that secret place is. The earth got to help us, meaning that the angels going to be outside of that secret place protecting us. Can't nothing get in, can't nothing get out. But you're going to be able to see it. You're going to be able to see the smoke coming out from this war, this mighty war, Armageddon. Go ahead, brother.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
See, that's the key right here. The remnant of her seed. The ones that hesitant, didn't want to leave, but they still are trying to keep God's law. He gonna go and make war with the remnant. The one that didn't get in the wilderness. Didn't get in there. Not saying say I couldn't get them because God protected them. Now I'm gonna go back and get the ones that still waiting. Think they're gonna be protected in the United States and all over the world. It's one particular spot. We'll start off with that 17.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Now let's see what this remnant of the seed is trying